Ukraine has taken an unexpected diplomatic and security step in the escalating crisis involving Iran, Israel, the United States, and several Gulf countries. According to recent announcements from Kyiv, Ukrainian authorities plan to deploy specialized drone defense experts to the Gulf region in response to a growing wave of missile and unmanned aerial vehicle attacks attributed to Iran. The move comes despite Ukraine continuing to fight a large-scale war on its own territory since Russia's invasion in 2022. Highlighting Kyiv's intention to position itself as an emerging actor in global security cooperation. The announcement was signaled publicly on March 5, when Ukrainian leadership indicated that elite defense teams specializing in counter-drone operations would soon be dispatched to the Gulf. Officials stated that the deployment would begin on March 9. The initiative follows a sharp rise in attacks targeting infrastructure and military facilities across the region, including locations connected to the United States and its allies. Gulf states have increasingly faced threats from Iranian drone and missile strikes, which have placed key transport routes and strategic infrastructure at risk. The regional security environment has deteriorated significantly in recent weeks. Reports indicate that Iran has conducted roughly 2,000 drone and missile attacks, affecting the Gulf region and routes leading toward Europe. While advanced Western air defense systems, such as Patriot and THAAD batteries, have intercepted many of these threats, military analysts say the strategy of using expensive interceptor missiles against relatively inexpensive drones presents long-term sustainability challenges. A single Patriot interceptor can cost around $1 million, while many attack drones cost only a few $1,000s. The imbalance has forced regional governments and their allies to search for alternative defensive strategies. Ukrainian specialists have become particularly relevant in this context because of their extensive experience countering Iranian-designed Shahed drones during Russia's war against Ukraine. Thousands of these systems have been launched against Ukrainian cities and infrastructure over the past several years, giving Ukrainian forces practical experience in detecting, tracking, and intercepting low-cost drone swarms. The urgency of the situation in the Gulf was underlined by several recent incidents. On March 7th, a drone attack occurred near terminals at Dubai International Airport, one of the busiest aviation hubs in the world. According to reporting by Euronews, the incident forced the suspension of flights and caused significant disruption to airport operations. The event demonstrated how drone attacks can rapidly affect global transportation networks and international trade. Another attack occurred the following day, on March 8th, when Iranian forces reportedly targeted a salt desalination facility in Bahrain. The strike raised concerns about the vulnerability of critical civilian infrastructure in the region, particularly facilities essential for water supply and energy production. Analysts warned that attacks on such infrastructure significantly expand the humanitarian and economic consequences of the conflict, moving beyond strictly military targets. Against this backdrop, Ukrainian officials argue that their drone defense teams can help Gulf states implement cost-effective and adaptable countermeasures. The proposed assistance includes electronic warfare systems designed to disrupt drone guidance signals, mobile air defense units capable of responding quickly to low-altitude threats, and specialized interceptor drones intended to physically destroy hostile UAVs. Ukrainian experts have developed these methods while defending cities such as Kyiv from repeated drone barrages. The approach focuses on layered defense rather than reliance on expensive missile interceptors. Acoustic sensors can detect the distinctive sound signatures of incoming drones, providing early warning. Electronic warfare equipment can jam navigation signals and communication links. Low-cost interceptor drones, sometimes described as hunter drones, can pursue and strike hostile UAVs directly. These systems typically cost between $5,000 and $10,000. Far less than traditional missile interceptors. Military analysts say such methods could significantly reduce the economic burden of defending against drone swarms. The strategy also includes mobile fire groups and rapid response units that can intercept drones flying at low altitude, which often evade traditional radar systems. Ukrainian experience in integrating early warning networks with air defense batteries may also help Gulf countries optimize existing systems, such as Patriots. Several Gulf states have already expressed interest in these solutions. Reports indicate that the United Arab Emirates has requested approximately 5,000 interceptor drones, while Qatar has signaled interest in acquiring around 2,000 units. Officials in the region view the Ukrainian experience as particularly valuable because the technologies and tactics were developed under real combat conditions. At the same time, Gulf countries are not relying solely on foreign assistance. Regional militaries have already begun taking independent defensive measures. Footage released on March 8 appeared to show the United Arab Emirates intercepting Iranian drones over the Persian Gulf using Apache attack helicopters. The video suggested that the country is capable of actively engaging aerial threats rather than relying exclusively on ground-based defense systems. Saudi Arabia has also indicated a shift toward a more assertive posture. Authorities in Riyadh announced that retaliatory measures are under consideration following repeated attacks linked to Iranian-backed forces. The kingdom has faced years of drone and missile strikes attributed to the Houthi movement in Yemen, and officials say the recent escalation has strengthened calls for a stronger response. The rapidly evolving situation highlights how the Gulf has become a focal point of a broader geopolitical confrontation involving multiple global powers. Ukraine's decision to send specialized defense teams to the region signals that the conflict's technological lessons are spreading far beyond Eastern Europe. For Kyiv, the initiative represents an opportunity to apply battlefield expertise developed during its own war while strengthening strategic partnerships with countries facing similar security threats. The core of Ukraine's proposed support to Gulf countries centers on practical experience gained during years of defending its own cities from large-scale drone and missile attacks. Ukrainian military specialists have developed a range of countermeasures specifically designed to neutralize Iranian-made Shahed drones, which have been widely used during Russia's war against Ukraine. Because the same drone technology is now appearing in attacks across the Middle East, Ukrainian authorities say their experts are uniquely positioned to help regional partners build a more sustainable air defense system. Ukrainian drone defense units have spent years analyzing the behavior, sound signatures, flight patterns, and vulnerabilities of Shahed-type drones. These systems are typically launched in waves or swarm formations designed to overwhelm traditional air defense systems. Their relatively low cost allows attackers to launch large numbers at once, forcing defenders to spend significantly more resources intercepting them. Military planners say that this economic imbalance is one of the main goals of drone warfare. To counter these tactics, Ukrainian engineers and defense units have developed layered defensive solutions that combine early detection, electronic disruption, and physical interception. One key component involves acoustic sensor networks that can detect the distinctive buzzing sound produced by Shahed engines. These sensors provide early warning even when drones fly at low altitudes or attempt to evade radar coverage. Electronic warfare systems form another critical element. Ukrainian forces have frequently used signal jamming to disrupt the navigation and communication links used by incoming drones. By interfering with these signals, defenders can cause drones to lose guidance and crash before reaching their intended targets. Similar methods have been used against other missile systems during the war in Ukraine. Another technique being considered for deployment in the Gulf is the use of low-cost interceptor drones. Systems described as Sting or Octopus-type interceptors are designed to pursue hostile drones and destroy them on impact. These interceptor drones typically cost between $5,000 and $10,000, a fraction of the cost of traditional missile interceptors used in large air defense systems. Defense analysts say this cost advantage could allow Gulf states to defend against large drone swarms without exhausting expensive missile stockpiles. Preventive systems designed to disrupt drone swarm coordination are also part of the proposed strategy. Defense specialists have referred to systems such as the Merat platform as examples of technologies that can help neutralize multiple drones simultaneously. These platforms combine detection and interception capabilities, making them suitable for defending key infrastructure in densely populated areas. In addition to drone threats, Ukrainian experts say their experience dealing with Russian ballistic missiles may also prove useful. Electronic warfare tactics used against Russian Iskander missile systems have focused on interfering with guidance mechanisms. Similar approaches could potentially affect Iranian ballistic missiles, such as the THAAD series, if adapted for regional defense networks. Mobile fire groups have become another hallmark of Ukraine's defensive strategy. These units consist of highly mobile teams equipped with rapid-fire weapons and portable air defense systems capable of engaging low-flying aerial threats. Their mobility allows them to reposition quickly in response to changing attack patterns, making them effective against drones attempting to exploit gaps in traditional radar coverage. Early warning integration is another area where Ukrainian expertise may contribute to regional defense. Ukraine has developed systems that integrate radar data, electronic intelligence, and satellite information into a unified command structure. Such integration has helped optimize the performance of existing air defense systems, including Patriot batteries, by improving target identification and interception timing. Protecting civilian infrastructure is one of the central goals of the proposed deployment. Facilities such as water desalination plants, airports, and energy infrastructure have become increasingly frequent targets in recent attacks across the Gulf. Defense planners believe that integrating Ukrainian-developed counter-drone systems could create an additional defensive layer that protects both military installations and civilian facilities. Requests from regional governments reflect growing confidence in these solutions. Officials in the United Arab Emirates have reportedly requested thousands of interceptor drones as part of future defense cooperation, while Qatar has also expressed interest in acquiring similar systems. These requests suggest that Gulf states see Ukraine's battlefield-tested methods as a practical response to the increasing frequency of drone attacks. However, the security environment in the region continues to evolve rapidly. Military and intelligence reports indicate that the types of aerial weapons used in attacks are becoming more varied. Analysts warn that Iran may deploy additional models of drones and missiles in future operations, potentially incorporating technologies acquired from foreign partners. Some reports suggest that drones resembling the Russian-made Garand II model have appeared in recent attacks targeting the Gulf region. The Garand II is widely considered a variant developed in Russia based on the Iranian Shahed platform. If confirmed, the use of such systems could indicate deeper military cooperation between Tehran and Moscow. This development has raised concerns among security analysts because it suggests that the technological landscape of the conflict is expanding. As new drone variants and missile systems appear, defenders may need to continuously adapt their countermeasures. Ukrainian specialists say that their experience confronting evolving drone tactics during the war with Russia could help regional forces respond more quickly to these changes. The arrival of Ukrainian drone defense teams in the Gulf could therefore represent more than a technical cooperation program. It may also mark the beginning of a broader strategic partnership focused on countering emerging forms of aerial warfare. As attacks continue and regional governments search for sustainable defensive solutions, the practical knowledge developed on the battlefields of Ukraine is increasingly being viewed as a valuable resource for allies facing similar threats. The expanding crisis in the Middle East is increasingly drawing in global powers and reshaping the geopolitical environment surrounding Iran, Israel, and the Gulf states. Alongside the defensive initiatives being prepared by Gulf countries and Ukraine's planned deployment of drone defense specialists, several international actors are becoming more deeply involved in the confrontation. Analysts say this combination of regional conflict and global competition is contributing to a rapidly evolving security landscape. Reports indicate that Russia and China are emerging as key external supporters of Iran during the current escalation. According to various sources, the assistance allegedly provided by Moscow and Beijing includes logistical support, intelligence sharing, and technological cooperation. While neither country has confirmed direct military involvement, analysts believe the level of cooperation between these powers and Tehran may be growing as tensions intensify. One report cited by United 24 claims that drones similar to the Russian-made Garand II model were used during attacks targeting infrastructure near Dubai. The Garand II drone is widely described as a system developed in Russia based on Iranian Shahed technology. If confirmed, the presence of such systems in the Gulf region would suggest that drone technology developed during the war in Ukraine is now influencing conflicts far beyond Eastern Europe. The possibility of Russian involvement has become a subject of concern for Western governments. Officials in the United States have warned that any military or intelligence support provided by Moscow to Iran could deepen tensions between Washington and the Kremlin. Statements from U.S. representatives have suggested that further support for Tehran could lead to serious political and economic consequences. Russia has also publicly commented on the situation. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov warned that expanding military operations by the United States in the region could increase instability. Observers interpret the statement as an indication that Moscow views the current crisis through the broader framework of its strategic rivalry with the West. The Kremlin has previously condemned Western sanctions and military pressure, and analysts say its position on Iran may reflect wider geopolitical calculations. China is also being closely watched as the conflict unfolds. Reports from international media outlets, including Al Jazeera, suggest that Beijing may be providing strategic intelligence support to Iran rather than direct military intervention. Analysts say this approach would allow China to assist Tehran while avoiding direct confrontation with Western powers. China's interest in the stability of Iran is widely linked to economic and energy considerations. Iran is an important supplier of oil to China and plays a significant role in Beijing's global infrastructure and trade strategy. The country is also connected to China's Belt and Road Initiative, which aims to expand economic links across Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. Any disruption to Iran's oil exports could therefore have broader consequences for China's energy security. One of the most sensitive locations in the current confrontation is Karg Island, a key Iranian oil export terminal responsible for a large share of the country's petroleum shipments. Military analysts say that control over this facility could have major economic implications for Iran. Discussions in Washington have reportedly included the possibility of targeting strategic energy infrastructure in order to pressure Tehran economically. At the same time, air operations against Iranian military assets have intensified. Reports indicate that several missile depots and drone launch facilities associated with Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps have been targeted during recent strikes. Israeli operations have also reportedly destroyed aircraft at the Shiraz airbase, weakening parts of Iran's air defense network. These attacks have reportedly damaged several Iranian air defense systems, including S-300 batteries and domestically produced systems. According to defense analysts, the degradation of these systems has reduced Iran's ability to protect its airspace against advanced air operations conducted by the United States and Israel. Military experts say that weakening air defenses is often a precursor to broader strategic pressure. Iran's nuclear program has also become part of the broader confrontation. U.S. cruise missile strikes reportedly targeted nuclear-related facilities near Isfahan, with officials suggesting that the attacks could delay elements of the program for several years. The strikes are part of a wider strategy aimed at limiting Iran's military and technological capabilities, while increasing pressure on the country's leadership. Political rhetoric between the parties involved has intensified alongside military developments. Former U.S. President Donald Trump stated in a message posted on the Truth Social platform on March 6, 2026, that any potential agreement with Iran would require unconditional surrender. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian rejected that demand, describing it as unrealistic and unacceptable. The exchange reflects the deep divisions that continue to shape the conflict. Iranian officials have warned that continued attacks could provoke further retaliation, including asymmetric operations targeting Israel and Gulf countries. The Revolutionary Guard Corps has repeatedly issued statements warning of additional strikes if military operations against Iran continue. At the same time, Iran's internal economic situation is deteriorating under the combined pressure of sanctions and military confrontation. Inflation and unemployment have increased, while disruptions to oil exports and international trade have placed further strain on the economy. Analysts say prolonged economic pressure could weaken public support for the government, although nationalist sentiment may also strengthen internal solidarity during external conflict. For Gulf countries, the central priority remains the protection of critical infrastructure and civilian populations. Airports, water desalination facilities, and energy installations have all been identified as potential targets in recent attacks. Officials in the region believe that strengthening defensive capabilities, including the deployment of Ukrainian drone specialists, could significantly reduce these risks. Military planners emphasize that Ukraine's experience in countering Iranian drone systems provides valuable practical knowledge that can be adapted to the Gulf's security environment. If successfully integrated with existing regional defenses, the new counter-drone measures could reduce reliance on expensive missile interceptors and improve response times against swarm attacks. However, analysts caution that the introduction of new defensive technologies will not immediately end the conflict. Iran retains a significant arsenal of missiles and drones, and regional tensions remain high. The involvement of major global powers further complicates efforts to stabilize the situation. As military operations continue and alliances evolve, the Middle East is entering a period of heightened strategic uncertainty. The deployment of Ukrainian drone defense experts represents one of several new factors shaping the balance of power in the region. Governments across the Gulf are now closely watching how these measures will influence the next phase of the confrontation. This evolving situation highlights how modern conflicts increasingly combine regional rivalries with global competition. The coming weeks may determine whether defensive cooperation and diplomatic pressure can prevent further escalation, or whether the crisis will expand into a wider confrontation involving multiple international actors. For ongoing coverage and detailed analysis of global security developments, viewers are encouraged to follow and subscribe for further reports.